Hope everybody is having a great weekend, and we are here on the United Hour. Today, we are going to be reminiscing about some of the, top stories that happened in 2021. So let's do this. Big Phil here for the United Hour again. And, we are in 2022, but I think we should take a look back at what 2021 has brought not only United, but the world of football. Imagine yourself in 2020 and somebody told you that the following things will be happening in 2021. Would you be like, nah, that person talking stupidness? Or would you be like, interesting? To join me to help with this walk back down 2021 President Chad of the United Hour and a special guest, Tremaine, who is in Barbados. How are you guys doing?
Well, I doing real good, because I still Christmas and I drinking some sorrel.
Correct.
We eating a little fruit cake. So while I'm talking to you, we're gonna be making it nice.
Correct. Correct. How are you doing, Tremaine? First time on the show, I think.
I good. I always good. I have nothing to complain about. So thank God for your
That's
blessings.
That's good to hear, man. That's
For
good to hear.
sure.
If you guys are now tuning in, please like, please share, and subscribe. This is the United Hour, and today's segment is called. We could put a little play on the words. It's called the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we can say the good, the bad, and the boo boo. Right? We are looking back at 2021, and we are going to take a walk down memory lane. These stories made headlines. These events happen that cause certain fans to cry, to be happy. We're just going to take a walk back down memory lane, and you in the comments can tell me if there are any other things or events or scenarios from 2021 that had you saying, oh, shaving cream, or had you laughing or dying, right? So that's dying figuratively, not literally. Sorry, literally, not figuratively, right? Sorry, I had to change that, right? Right. So let's get into it. Now, we are in the year 2021, and Man United have just made the final to Europa League. And I'm sure every Man United fan was happy that we made it to a European final under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the result did not go in our favor because Villarreal ended up winning on penalties and United were the runners up, right? So, a lot of a lot of non-United football fans were obviously hoping that United lost because they didn't want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to win a trophy. But some United fans were sad because they lost, but some United fans were happy because they thought that this will pave the way for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being sacked. But forget about Ole. Forget about what other non-United fans think. I want to hear what you guys thought about the whole Europa League fiasco. We got to a European final for the first time since Jose Mourinho. What are your thoughts? Tremaine, I'll start with you, Tremaine.
Honestly, as it relates to the Europa League final last year, it was very disappointing. Honestly, I thought we should have had a easier path to the final, considering some of the opponents that we went up against. But as usual, we made it very hard. And when it got to the final, I was looking forward to it. You know, we don't usually get a easy game per se versus Sevilla, but I still thought, given the quality within the team, that we should we should be able to come away from that game with a cup in our hands. You know, it's not a league. It's not a cup. I think that we should be in, but I believe that once we're in it, we should go to win it. And honestly, the showing, what I saw performance wise inside that final did not show me that. It didn't show me that the players really wanted it, in my opinion, because for some reason it this team sometimes is get your hopes up and then you look for a certain something from it, and then it all seems to fall flat, and that's exactly what happened inside the final.
No, no, definitely, I definitely can relate to what you're saying. President Chad, United make it to a European final, Europa League, whatever, but then we lost. Thoughts on what you were
Boy,
thinking?
reminiscing about that loss in that final, I feel like I need to put some rum in this sorry list.
It's true, boy. It is very, very true.
I mean, the only thing I didn't do was go and get a tattoo saying, Manchester United Europa champions. I was so confident. I was so confident going into that game that we were going to win it. I mean, I was really, I was really confident, and I was very disappointed, that we didn't win it. One, because I always like my team to have silverware, obviously, and two, because I know that would have been the validation. Because despite how good we were doing in the league, there are a lot of people that had question marks over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And at that particular point in time, my thought was this would be the validation that Ole needs. You know what I mean? To say, well, yeah, I've won something. He would have won something with Manchester United. And, as history would have it, Bruno was crying at the end, and so were we.
Yeah, yeah. I can't like I'll give my piece because I was very confident in that we would beat Villarreal. I said on many podcasts, yo, we Villarreal is there for the taking. We had the likes of Pogba and Bruno in form. We rested most of our starting 11 for that before the final because we had to play Wolves. I remember Dan James and Alanga playing in that final Wolves game, so I know that most of the United players have been well rested for that trip where we had to face Villarreal in the final. When it came down to penalties, I started to lose confidence because at the end of the day, David De Gea, we know, is not that great at saving penalties. So, I mean, it is what it is. The entire social media world was against United when David De Gea missed that penalty. We take it on the chest because at the end of the day, United, we're hated, we're adored, but we're never ignored, right? So, yeah. But to go to the parent competition, the Champions League final between Chelsea and Manchester City. After the 90 minutes, Manchester United still remains the only team in Manchester to win a European trophy. So that kind of put a smile on my face. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that or if we should move on per se. I know it put a smile on my face.
It always puts a flat smile on my face because regardless of how well Man City are doing in the league, because the last couple years Man City has been dominating the league. In some parts this season, like at first in league, you would say that you got this person say to the race and that person said to the race, and then just at some point in season, Man City just start to click and just start to bring games back to back. But it just brings me a different kind of joy to just see them feel horribly inside inside Champions League because because that's the one thing that they can never say that they have on us.
No. Very, very, very well said. Because at the end of the day, I know if Manchester City had won that Champions League final, I know there would have been some Man United fans emerging from the Caribbean. I know that for some reason. So I know I know Manchester City fans, since they have lost that Champions League final, they've gone back to being Chelsea fans in the Caribbean, right? That's all I gotta say.
One thing I want to say is when City played PSG, I considered it the oil money semi-final, right?
Correct.
And the truth be told, Chelsea City is the same thing because Abramovich is oil money as well.
Correct.
So let's just hope that the Champions League has not become an oil money thing. That the only teams making it to the final are teams with oil money. So let's see what this year brings. But we would hope that was a one-off, because we don't want every Champions League final to see the likes of a PSG or Manchester City or Chelsea. And not just because Chelsea and Manchester City are Premier League rivals, but because we don't want, in 3 years we're going to see Newcastle, we don't want to just see teams with oil money doing well in Champions League. We want Champions League to really be what it is, the best of the best, and teams that raise money because they have large fan bases, because they have done it the right way, that they would still be able to compete at a high level. So let's see how it goes. But that was definitely a oil money final and semi-final last time around.
It's interesting. It's interesting you said that, because I think that these clubs with the oil money per se, they have a huge advantage with their owners backing in financially. But I also realize that sometimes the I guess the distance is created between the teams that may be run by their huge fan bases and the team that are run by their oil money per se. I think the major difference is a lot of the time the teams that are run by big fan bases, a lot of the time their owners, they don't run them as efficiently.
No.
You can look at us, you can look at Arsenal, you can look at that, even Liverpool to an extent, because if us, we already know the story with the Glazers, we already know the story with Arsenal, but think we can look at Liverpool too, because this is win seasons now that they haven't been reinvesting inside the team, or they haven't been bringing in more players. And you look at the age of the Liverpool team that's gradually going up, and you can see Liverpool fans like literally begging to bring some players in, because you can see it last season with Van Dijk. He was out, and you really had no person at that ilk to come in and to steer the ship. So a lot of the time is, and then you look at Man City with their oil money and how they invested their money. Anybody from that team can get injured, and they would have no worries whatsoever.
Yeah, that's how deep this one is.
Yeah,
they could easily field two teams, two starting 11s.
I was saying with the quality that they have, they can have two starting 11s in the Premier League, and both of them being say top 4.
Correct. I definitely agree on that. But they'll have to wait again to see if they can lift that European silverware, right? So just to summarize, in my opinion, United making the Europa League final is good. United losing is bad. Manchester City losing and still allowing United to be the only team in Manchester to have the European pedigree, that's good. Now, for the next topic, you guys can give me if this is a good, a bad, or ugly, or a boo-boo. Up to you, right? We saw that in the summer, something called the European Super League was formed, right? So it was almost wanting to be on the same level as the Champions League, where, you pick the best out of the best to play in this league. Each team would have been given around 300 million. No other teams would have been relegated. And this was something that was initiated by some of the various presidents and CEOs of the clubs that were in the Super League. right? I know the Glazers were part of it. I know Fiorentino Perez was part of it. Daniel Levy from Tottenham was part of it. The Kroenke at Arsenal was part of it.
FSG.
FSG from Liverpool were part of it. Obviously, the PSG, Juventus, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they were part of it. The only big club per se that wasn't part of it was Bayern Munich, right?
Says a lot,
Munich,
So when you
doesn't it?
guys,
Munich smell the blood in the water quickly, and they didn't press go.
correct. Now, obviously, a lot of drama unfolded from it. You know, Champions League. President was talking about, oh, anybody that plays in this European Super League will not be eligible to play for their country, and they would have to get fined. A lot of drama, right? Guys, tell me what you thought of this whole European Super League that was formed, this whole fiasco, right? I'll start with President Chad.
Um, I could understand from a financial standpoint why these clubs wanted to form the Super League. I mean, after that whole thing, where's Barcelona now? Right? You know, you saw Real Madrid also trying to let go of some players and reduce their wage bill. Juventus make it clear since then that they can't sign. They would love to get Paul Pogba, but they're not going to be able to sign him because they can't pay for him, and they haven't really been splashing the cash. So these clubs were going through financial challenges. The owners are Manchester United and City and Chelsea. Well, and Arsenal, they didn't really need money per se, but I mean, which rich person doesn't want more money, right?
Correct.
So it was all a play for money, and from that standpoint, I could understand it. Um, what people need to understand, though, from a historical point of view, even when Sir Alex was the manager, there was talk of a Super League because one of the problems that some of these big European clubs have is that UEFA is making and FIFA that runs the FIFA Club World Cup. They're making most of the money, and a lot of these clubs don't find that the amount of money that they get. And the truth be told, nobody watches Champion League to see Florentina or Villarreal or Sevilla, right? Or even if, let's say, West Ham was to make it in the top four, nobody's watching Champions League for that. People are watching Champions League for Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Juventus. These are the clubs that people watch Champions League for. And, so they have always felt that they should have more money, and they should also have a little more security. Why? So if they miss out on top four, why should they be relegated to Europa? When these are the clubs that are the big draws. So I understand it, but the way they went about it, obviously very sneakishly, sitting down on the UEFA board, and then next thing you hear men resigning from the board, and they're on the board of this new group. One day in this board, the next day you resign. That kind of behind the back, underhanded thing it really wasn't going to sit well with fans. It wasn't going to sit well with UEFA. It wasn't going to sit well with FIFA. And fans, it was the one time I could say that fans' voices were heard. You know
Correct.
what
Yeah,
I mean? It
that's what I want.
definitely.
That's what I wanted to get at because this was one time fans were actually getting off of their asses off their couch and actually speaking, right? Because it's almost like you're forming a whole different competition. Okay, but you're taking away from the whole prestige of the Champions League, the prestige of the Premier League as well, too, right? Because if I'm a superstar player, right, and I want to play against the best week in, week out, right? Why would I waste my energy on the Premier League when I will be facing the likes of Barcelona, Juventus, Real Madrid in the European Super League versus the likes of like Declan Rice and some of these guys from Brentford. Like these guys don't look forward to playing Brentford and West Ham and Norwich. I'm looking forward to playing the likes of Madrid and Bayern Munich. Well, they weren't there, but obviously the creme de la creme, right? Tremaine, what you thought of the whole the whole European Super League being formed?
I thought it would have ended exactly how it ended, honestly. Not as quick, but exactly how it ended. I expected, and honestly, I look at it. Everybody understand that we know that from the financial point of view, the clubs got all the incentive to do it. That is exactly what they do it, and it's a lot of money, and nobody can turn it down. We all understand that, but from the fan point of view, it's like it takes away a little bit because what makes a big game sometimes a big game is that it doesn't come by that often. You know, sometimes you play a North here and there, and then you next two games, we can play Chelsea or we can play Man City such and such a day. I'm looking forward to that day. And you taking it game by day until that game, and then the games against some of these small teams, and then give you an idea of how well you can play against the Chelseas and Liverpools, or how bad you can perform against them. And if every game is a big game, then no game is a big game. And
Yeah, I definitely agree because a fan who is, let's say, Norwich or Newcastle, right? They probably look forward to traveling to Old Trafford. But if they travel to Old Trafford and no disrespect, but men like Elanga and Hannibal in the starting 11,
You gotta keep your big guns for your big games.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. As a CEO of United and this Super League comes, why would I want to play my best players in a league that doesn't attract as much television viewership versus the European Super League, right? But when all is said and done, within 48 hours, it was dismantled. Was that the right thing to do, guys?
When fans stopping team buses in the case of Chelsea fans, when fans storming the ground and getting games postponed in the case of United fans, you know, when that kind of thing going on, you really have a choice, you know, as a club, we didn't give them a choice on whether it was, you know, they had to do it. I don't think they wanted to do it. They did it kicking and screaming, but they had to do it. And the clubs that tried to hold out till the end were those that were in the most financial challenges, which was Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Juventus. You know, as far as I know, those three clubs still in the Super League. As far as I know. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but those three clubs also dealing with some financial challenges, especially Barcelona. So you could understand why.
what I'll say is this: in all the time I was a football fan, for most of my life, I have never seen football fans agree on anything. And this is one thing. This is one time in my life I've seen all football fans in unison, and that says everything it needs to. Honestly, because football fans don't agree on anything.
Yeah, especially different supporters from different clubs.
Exactly.
I remember hearing people talking about joint protests. Imagine Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United fans having a joint anything. You could, you know,
Crazy.
could you even conceive of that thought? But
Crazy.
that's what was being spoken about, and you know, it was men was serious.
Yeah,
Seriously, those clubs were gonna those supporters were gonna get together.
and that's the amazing thing because oftentimes football United, Arsenal fans and Liverpool fans disagree with each other for the sake of it, even if they agreed with the opinion that person had before. Just because he's a Liverpool fan and you said it, I know disagree with it.
And that is what I was trying to get at, right? Because to see clubs that are rivals on the football field, right, become allies against this whole European Super League, right? It shows that football is more than a business. Football is actually a sport as well. Too. And some of these CEOs, some of these stakeholders, were getting a bit too carried away, right? But at the end of the day, some of these stakeholders, the whole football world knows now that the real stakeholders of the football clubs are the fans, right? Football is nothing without the fans, and that's what we have to get to, right? So the whole European Super League being formed, in my opinion, was the ugly. It was the boo boo, right? But it being dismantled, I guess it was good, right? Because it was done within less than a week. It was actually done in 48 hours, and I'm glad, right? Still reminiscing of 2021. We come to an international tournament called the Euro 2020 that took place in 2021, right? Um, football's coming home, and the whole incident with oh my gosh, what's his name now from Denmark? Christian Eriksen, right? Yeah, the whole
Yep.
incident with
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen. That was it was great to see how far Denmark could have went in the league because not in the league in the tournament because of Christian Eriksen and the condition that happened to him. So seeing football fans rally behind him, but the whole Euro tournament just wasn't about that. It was about the best of the best in Europe vying off against each other, and then in the final, it saw football's coming home versus football's going Rome, right?
I like that one.
England versus Italy. We saw England take the lead, then Italy equalized in the second half, and then Italy winning it on penalties, right? Just to go back to that tournament, did you guys have that final to be England Italy? Who were your teams to make it to the final per se? I start
I
with
had
Tremaine. Sorry, I start President Chad. Sorry, yeah.
I had Italy, yes. I wasn't so sure about England, but it should be told England just flattered to deceive that whole tournament. They played so well. Players shone like Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, Miss Mount, and then after, well, they failed. They fell short in the final. Sterling, all of these guys, they flattered to deceive because after the Euros, almost every English player, except for Declan Rice and maybe one other, went back to the domestic league and started to play a set of shite. All of them
Yeah.
had poor starts to the season. Mason Mount had a poor start. Sterling was on the bench for City right through. Hello, we don't need to talk about Shaw and Maguire, right? As United supporters, we know.
The United players in general.
Pickford, yeah, Pickford wasn't really shy. I mean, Harry Kane. I mean, that
Yeah,
whole
boys.
English team, they fell flat on the final, right? And at the beginning and after that, that whole English team just popped down. So that just flattered to deceive. Italy deserved to win it from the standpoint that Italy played some of the best football that I have seen Italy play in a long time. They
It
were not
wasn't the
just
typical. It
this.
wasn't the typical
No,
Italian football. They defended well, but they were also attacking as well too.
correct, and it was impressive. So England flattered to deceive. Italy deserved winners. Strangely enough, is look at Italy had a playoff to qualify for the World Cup now. So that tournament seemed to have rubbed off on everybody in a bad way. Nobody came out of the Euros. The two finalists, none of them came out well. Both of
It
them
was
came
peak.
out sour.
It was very peak.
Yeah.
What about you, Tremaine? Who was your team for the Euros? And did you expect that final the way it went?
Funny enough, I haven't been following Italy on the international team for a while. So watching the Euros and seeing Italy perform the way they performed, it surprised me because the last time I was like in chat with Italy, there was like a shadow of the farm itself. There wasn't anything like the Italy of old, the team to fear. So seeing Italy inside that tournament, I was like, whoa, because I honestly had my eyes on team like France, Germany usually put up good um, cup runs, and I was looking at England from a United standpoint. It was
Yeah,
saying United, not United. Maguire was actually
he was solid.
performing. Yeah, Shaw was playing out of his skin, especially going forward. You were seeing different things from Rashford. Don't let you know. It was looking at people like Greenwood or what's not. So I was looking at England from a United standpoint, and those are the things I was mainly looking at. And I was also looking at Portugal because they got the Ronaldo factor, and it was at the time. At that time, it was looking like Ronaldo was just pulling his team teams that he was playing for upper level and that's dragging
Yeah.
them places. So those are the teams that I was looking at. I wasn't expecting England to perform the way they did in the final. Honestly, it was kind of disappointing. I think Gareth Southgate made a lot of questionable decisions, especially with the penalty selections and the late subs. So really and truly, I think that England was quite disappointing in semi-finals, but Italy did what they had to do. They showed their quality and they came away with the trophy and they fully deserved it.
Yeah, yeah. I can be honest. I probably was looking for France to repeat their World Cup performance in this European tournament, but they as well disappointed. But this tournament brought the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the boo boo. Some fans may think that the good was Italy winning it and England not winning it because they couldn't stand England fans singing "Football's coming home." The bad in terms of Christian Eriksen collapsing and everybody wishing him well. But then the ugly, Italy did win, but I think three players from the England squad received some abuse, and that was Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Bukayo Saka. Those guys received some abuse online and offline. By offline, I mean even outside of certain bars and around Wembley and what's not, right? Um, I kind of unfortunately saw it was inevitable that three guys of our skin color missed the penalties for England of all teams, and you know what was going to happen afterwards, right? What were you guys' thoughts on that? Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and Bukayo Saka receiving that abuse. You can start,
You,
Jermaine. You can start, Jermaine, if you want.
well, that seeing that sort of behavior, especially on online, is always leave a bad taste in your mouth. When you know that people is just go the extra mile with it and be a little extra nasty because they know that they're hiding behind a profile. So that sometimes it gives them the almost the freedom or the power to be a little bit nastier than they would if it was in, like, for example, a real life encounter, and it always leave a bad taste in your mouth. um, it's just I think it's just I ain't sure if it's just coincidence that the three that missed the penalty are the ones that were brought on late in the game and they weren't necessarily in it as yet and get a chance to like bed themselves in as yet. But I honestly think that it had a part to play. That being said, it never gives anyone the right to say these sort of things that people were saying online. It, it just leaves a bad taste in me.
True, President Chad. If you muted President Chad, but if do you think if the likes of, let's say, Harry Kane, Maguire, Luke Shaw were to take those penalties, they would get the same abuse? I don't think so. But what were your
when
thoughts, President Chad?
when you see racist abuse on any level, it is disheartening
Yes.
and it is disturbing. Whether it is at people that look like you or not. It could be could have been an Asian player, could have been an Arab player, it doesn't matter. But sometimes when you're trying to be too cute, that is what has happened. When you try to make political statements and not football, is my personal belief, right? I believe the reason those players were chosen within the first five to take the penalties was because of the skin color. You know what I mean? You had other players who are good penalty takers, who were playing on the pitch, they were warm. I could understand Rashford maybe because he would have taken penalties for England um, uh, before and maybe not during the tournament, but before the tournament, right? So he would have been there. But these are the guys you now bring them on. You literally brought on Jadon Sancho to take penalties. You know, I think they were trying to make a statement, obviously, because of Rashford's status, because of the whole Black Lives Matter thing was big at the point in time, and they were trying to make a political statement, and it backfired. I don't think that those players were chosen in the first five. I'm not saying they wouldn't have been chosen if the they didn't need to continue taking penalty kicks. But I don't think those players were chosen because on merely football merit in terms of what was going on the pitch on the day. And when you try to make political statements in that way, sometimes that's what happens. And then what they hoped to hold up to the world, because you all remember what happened in the aftermath of France winning the World Cup. You know, it became like all black people all over the world won the World Cup because everybody was like, this one have Congo, this one from South Africa, this one Zambia heritage. Everybody, you know, it was like all of we win the World Cup. Woohoo! So England was probably trying to create that kind of vibe, sending all the black players to take, you know, especially the darkest one in soccer, sending them to take these penalty kicks and, you know, expecting to win. And it backfired. And I'm not saying it's good it backfired, of course not. It would have been nice if that they would have had that success. But, you know, play football. They want to make political statements, you know, put them on their jersey and pull it up when you score, some kind of thing, you understand? Not on the football pitch. When you're playing football to win, focus on winning, not making political statements. And that's just me. I haven't really heard that in the mainstream, but that is my opinion. I think they were trying to make a political statement and it backfired. And it is what it is, but you know, it's always unfortunate. And I don't think everybody who necessarily reacted are necessarily racist. You have to understand, you know, the English had a lot invested. And sometimes when you want to lash out at people, you lash out in your ugly ways. You know, we may have all said something to somebody, whether they be, you know, obese or whether they be skinny or whether they be whatever, but that don't mean that we necessarily think that way about everybody.
It's the heat of the moment,
yeah,
right?
The heat of the moment
sometimes you bring out that dark thing that you've been keeping down for so long, right? So
no, don't get me wrong. There are some people who are definitely racist and they will just look happy for an opportunity to jump out, right? And say what they think or how they feel. But I also think that there are some people who they were just angry and on a normal day they would not have said those things. You know, because those same people will go in the stadium as an Arsenal supporter and be wearing a soccer jersey. Because trust me, if you're a real racist, you ain't buying a jersey with somebody you don't like and wear it. But while you're wearing the England jersey, you might be cussing, oh, that black soccer, you know what I mean? But when you cool down, you're still going in the Arsenal fan shop and playing on, you know, the United supporters, they might have been cussing and carry on in it, but they're going and they're buying a Rashford jersey. And I mean, a lot of supporters in England proud to wear a Rashford jersey, even non-United supporters, because of the work Rashford has done. So, you know, we had to also not overreact as, you know, people seeing the ugliness, recognizing that sometimes in the heat of the moment, you know, let's be real, I'm sure we've said some stuff about those nasty scousers and shell shit, and, you know, we've said some stuff. Sometimes when you're upset, especially when you're losing, you know, you could jump out yourself a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
but
tell people about the mother thing. But nah, we ain't doing that on this. we ain't doing that on this show, right? But no, good review and good conversation about the whole Euros, the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the good, the bad, and the boo-boo. If you're now tuning in, we are reviewing 2021. We're looking at, you know, these scenarios that happened in 2021. And, you know, we're going to move on to, I guess, the transfer window, right? The whole focus was on the Euros, and now it shifted to the transfer window. I can bring it back a little bit to Man United. I can start with the first two signings of Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. I think, in my opinion, those were two signings that we needed, President Chad. You know, what were your thoughts on when we signed them?
Jadon Sancho was what? Over a year?
Yeah, it was a year. It was a year late. Yeah.
So exactly, it felt like that. It felt like it was a year late. And Rafael Varane was shocking.
Very.
Okay.
Rafael, because it was shocking because Rafael Varane had options and he chose to come Manchester United. And I was like, wow, okay. We still have a certain cachet, because
Mhm.
it's one thing when you have young players who up and coming and you get an opportunity to move from a smaller club to a bigger club. It doesn't matter what the bigger club is. You happy. You know what I mean? It have men will be happy to go and play for Arsenal. But when you have the caliber of a Rafael Varane, as a elite level player, that has won everything there is to win, World Cups, Champions League. You understand what I'm saying? When you're that, when you could attract that kind of player. So I was really impressed with that with the bit of business, and
Think President Chad Rose. Anyway, Tremaine,
So,
Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho. What were your thoughts on those two
so
guys signing for us? I think you froze, President Chad.
yeah, no worries. I mean, I was just going to, as I said, it was an excellent start to the window for us, and we were on the verge of shouting, singing, we're going to win the league.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing when you look back. You could look in hindsight, it's like,
they
well,
say hindsight is a lucrative commodity.
yeah,
Yeah, boy.
that's how we were feeling at that time. We're going to win the league.
That's exactly how it felt when we signed Varane, because that was like champions. We just saying we put out the performance that we put out last year. We got a squad that we bring along. We bring in Sancho that we've been looking for. We've been looking for a right winger since Ronaldo, and that was how much
Boy.
years ago? Over
Yeah.
10 years ago. So we finally bring a right winger instead of constantly buying left wingers and number 10s to play on the right wing for some unknown reason. We brought in Champions League Varane, so here I am telling myself, I get my hopes up, and it's the hope that is looking back now is the hope that is really killed, but you're looking at I was saying that Maguire and Love in their own right, they're good defenders, but together they don't really cover for each other's weaknesses. And Varane is a defender that really makes up for that because he has the recovery pace. He's good in the air. He's strong. He's a complete defender. So
Coming
I'm
off
telling
the
myself,
Euros that Maguire had, I mean, we were thinking Maguire and Varane. Well, come on, we're going to dominate in the Premier League.
slap head on canvas, Varane. It can't get no better than that. At the time, I thought, but we've hardly seen Varane, and Maguire hasn't been the same this season at all.
Boy, I have been telling people that we signed the Red Ninja Turtle, boy. We have signed Rafael, boy. I told people Rafael is here, boy. We got, and no, don't get me wrong. The way Harry Maguire was moving in the Euros, plus a Rafael Varane in defense, plus how Luke Shaw was coming off a great season with United and also defending well with England, I thought we were going to compete and hopefully be in the safe for the top 3, top 4, I believe. So I was excited. Jadon Sancho definitely, as Tremaine said, we needed somebody to replace Ronaldo, and lo and behold, in 2021 we finally buy Jadon Sancho, right? So definitely was excited about that. In my opinion, that was the good for us in the transfer window, right? But let's go back and forth between United and the world, right? Let's start with the world first, right? And we're still in the transfer market, right? I don't know where you guys were, but I was on my way home from work, and I saw Fabrizio Romano. Well, obviously, Fabrizio Romano was tweeting a bunch of tweets saying a certain player will renew his contract. There's no issue, right? And I got a tweet from Fabrizio Romano saying that Lionel Messi will be leaving Barcelona. Now, we knew this time would come from years ago, but we didn't know that it would be happening last year, summer transfer window, because Messi had just won with Argentina. What do you call it now?
Copa America.
Copa America.
Copa America, yeah, he had just won the Copa America. To get that news that Lionel Messi was leaving Barcelona, the first thing I did was to check up on my Barcelona fans, right? Now, I know this is not United related, but it's still football related. Lionel Messi leaving Barcelona because of the financial situation that Barcelona is in. Who cares? It's Lionel Messi, and we know what he has done to teams across the world while wearing that Blaugrana jersey. He finally has this. He finally will not be a Barcelona player anymore. I can start with Tremaine first. Tremaine, what did you think of that piece of news?
Honestly, I have a Barcelona friend. He was telling me that Messi like he leaving. I was like, Messi ain't leaving. You relax. And I was telling that I'm a Barcelona fan because in my head, from small, I used to always had in my head that he would never leave Barcelona. He would retire at that club. Even though recently you hear a little rumor here and a little snippet here that it may be unrest. I never thought that he would have actually gone through with actually leaving Barcelona. I think it was when I heard the news, it was actually shocking. And honestly, the very funny thing about him leaving Barcelona is that no one involved in it benefited from that transfer so far. Not him, not Barcelona, and certainly not PSG.
Well, PSG jersey sold out, I
Well,
think, within the first day or so.
financially, of course.
PSG cachet. Not the PSG don't need money, but the cachet definitely was improved. They have a lot more fans now than they had before.
Yeah.
Sure bet.
What do you thought? What do you thought, President Chad Lionel Messi finally leaving Barcelona?
If the provocateur Robert was here, he would have said that fraud, that hobbit, that all kind of thing. He just called Messi. And to be honest with you, that move showed how much of a fraud Messi is. How much money Barcelona gave Messi over the years. Endorsements alone would have given Messi close to $30 million. Messi could have stayed and renewed his contract for $0 or $1 a month. If he loved Barcelona so much, you're going up there and you're crying, I love Barcelona. But I had to go. No, you didn't have to go. People need, let me just say this. I'm not a Barca supporter, so I don't really care. But people had to get it straight. Messi didn't have to go. Messi went for the money. Let me be real. He could have stayed. The sponsors would have made sure his endorsements. He was not going to stay and suffer. He would not have moved out of the villa and go and rent a little small apartment with his family. You understand what I'm saying? Messi would have been comfortable if he stayed. He chose to go because they couldn't afford to pay him. And part of the reason that Barcelona is in the mess that they were in was because of Lionel Messi, not just his wages, but him telling them, yeah, buy this one, buy Coutinho, buy that one, I want to play with this one. And they were running around the place like headless chicken. Hopefully Manchester United don't follow suit and start doing what the player wanted instead of the club and the manager doing what is best for the club. So
it's rumored that Barcelona actually renewed Lionel Messi's contract 9 times. Who does that?
Right? So after he put them in the barrel, he jumped out for more money. And then Barcelona supporters would still want to kind of hold on to him. And then he just want to kind of wink at them in the back door. Messi is a fraud. And this window that went here, the summer window, proved it. If you didn't know he was a fraud before, he showed everybody up that he was a fraud now. And all them crocodile tears, I couldn't be bothered at all. And all the Barcelona fans who want to hold on to it and look up to him as their messiah, well, what I can say? That's up to them. But he's a fraud as far as I'm concerned.
The funny thing is, right, that we sometimes I see us show a lot of sympathy towards the feelings of some of these footballers, and I sometimes it's funny, especially I can include the current state of United at the moment with the players talking about getting home late and stuff like literally every person in the world don't leave home and get home late on a day working for like literally like 1% of their salary, and like and that's very harken back to the Messi thing, because even if Messi makes millions now. If he had got a pay cut, you know what? Messi would still be making millions, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's the thing that I find so hilarious about it.
It's funny because and I chose this topic because it was so big that there were Barcelona fans camping outside of the new camp, with like their jerseys and with their placards and their cardboard box and their cardboard cutout saying, Messi don't leave. Obviously, it was in Spanish, but it was along the lines of, Lionel Messi, please don't go, yada yada yada. Right. So, one thing, the first thing I did was I checked out on a couple of Barcelona fans, and as expected, they didn't reply. They left me on scene. Right. It's only when United, lose a game here and there, they'll then respond to me. Right. But we move still in the transfer window. And one superstar leaves and another superstar did not like the attention that other superstar was garnishing. And I'll talk about the night before and on the current day. Now, on the night before, it was rumored that George Mendes, who is the agent for Cristiano Ronaldo, was holding talks with Manchester City. And I think on the United Hour, myself and Robert, the provocateur, we were pissed, we were angry, we were about to burn Ronaldo jerseys, right? Because we were saying that how we created you, and you're gonna go over to our rivals just like that. And some people were telling me, "Oh, Figo did it," and I'm like, "No, that's not the exact same thing. It may look so on paper, but that's not the same thing. Yes, Real Madrid and Barcelona are massive rivals. By the end of the day, Barcelona didn't create Figo. Barcelona put Figo's name on the map. We put Ronaldo's name on the map, right? But anyway, that was the bad. On to the current day. I'm not going to lie. I was relieved. I was so relieved that I tried to go on Manchester United's website and it said it's TTP 404 not found. That is how much of a transfer it was. And if you guys don't know, I'm talking about Ronaldo, the prodigal son, returned to Manchester United. Twitter actually reported that this was the most retweeted tweet ever.
Broke the internet.
It broke the internet. It crashed Manchester United's website. The most retweeted tweet: Ronaldo returns to Manchester United. The floor is yours, guys. Tell me what you thought about that.
I know people. You're talking about the night before. I had two friends, married guys, married men, and their wives was asking them what happened.
Yeah.
Babe, what happened? What I do? Sorry. Because they see any men walking around the house, depressed. And men had to say, no, it's not you, babe. It's not you. It's football. It's Ronaldo going to City. You know what I mean? And I'm not married, so I can't relate from that perspective, but I could relate from the emotions that they were feeling. Correct. There was a sense of not even anger, kind of bewilderment. You felt lost. You felt like somebody, when you were a child and somebody call you and say, hey, your dog get bounced. It's like a kind of unspeakable kind of grief. And then to wake up in the morning and hear, Ronaldo to United, here we go. It was like, what? Really? All of a sudden, you move from your dog died to Christmas morning. What I mean? As a child. That was the real bipolar. Real correct, bipolar vibes. So, it was that. I have Ronaldo's a picture of Ronaldo in the United jersey. The first set of pictures they released, the club released, as the screensaver on my phone. I have never had a footballer or just a male person as a screensaver on my phone ever. You know what I mean? So to actually have Ronaldo, I used to see Ronaldo every day on my phone, every single day, because he's right there on my screen. That's the, I people that know me for years, when they see my phone, they're like, but I say serious? Come on, is that serious? I have a good friend. She's like, is it really that serious? I say, yes, skills, Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Man, come home. Is that serious? You know what I mean? It's that serious. So I I have stopped putting players' names on the back of my shirt since I bought a Paul Pogba shirt 4 seasons ago. Because I get so upset by these players, so I just buy the shirt and I put my name on it.
Correct.
I have a Ronaldo jersey. I have a brand new Ronaldo jersey. I was saying after the Glazers out movement, I say I ain't buying no kit this season. This
Nope.
one season I'm not buying no kit. And then Ronaldo came and it was like, well, maybe next season.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe next season. So that's the impact. That's the significance of Ronaldo. That's the emotion that was produced by Ronaldo coming in. Again, in hindsight, right now it ain't really looking all that great. But at that time, Manchester United supporters went up on the moon.
What's your thoughts, Tremaine? Ronaldo returning.
My feelings went like from the nail to everything to like being a winning league. Because I'm gonna lie, if I absolutely nail to being a winning league, because it was talk about Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United from the time he left. And then
Correct.
he hit 30 and 31 and 30. So I tell myself, at this point, it probably ain't gonna happen. So I kind of got it out my mind. And then when I saw him linked to Man City, I was like, nah, Ronaldo would never do that. Even when I saw a report saying that the agreement was closed, I was still denying it. And then I saw reports that we were coming in to sign it. I was still in it. I was like, not gonna happen. He ain't gonna return to thing. And then when I saw the iconic 3 words, here we go, I completely lost it. I was like, yep, that's it. We got Champions League around. We got Slab Head. We got we got for the first time in how many years? We got Cristiano Ronaldo. We can win everything. That's literally how I felt. And then my brother was looking at me. He was like, all right, you already know what I want for Christmas. I was just I lost it. Honestly, it was Ronaldo. I even say it's down. I would see a post left, right, and center. Ronaldo literally brought the internet that day.
Yeah.
I thought Messi going to leave Barcelona brought the internet, and I was like, all right, well, and he proceeded to do his rival. I mean, like, I just didn't come in.
You want to know what my reaction was? It was more a reaction not to the signing, but it was more a reaction to the rival fans, right? Because rival fans were on podcast with me the night before laughing, oh, Ronaldo's going to go to Manchester City. And what if Ronaldo scores in the Manchester Derby and does a sue in front of the Old Trafford faithful? And these guys were boiling me up because this is what Fabrizio Romano tweeted, right? That George Mendes was discussing a possible transfer to Manchester City. And it was boiling me up, right? But I can show you how it's so bipolar, right? For me and also rival fans. The next day, next podcast, same rival fans. Rival fans were like, well, Ronaldo's too old and the Premier League has changed since he was there. The guy is 36 years of age. Why are you guys signing a 36-year-old? I'm like, look, have you seen Ronaldo's body? Ronaldo's no normal 36-year-old. He's not James Milner. Come on, right? And that's all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's too old. He's not You guys think you're signing the 23-year-old that you guys let go to Real Madrid? I said, no, Ronaldo's coming home. That's all I said, right? Don't get me wrong. I wanted to burn my jersey the night before. I said, Ronaldo, you would probably have to increase your security fees, right? Because three quarters of your salary will probably go to security fees. Because if you go to Manchester City, we would have lost all respect for you, right?
It's true. Very true.
But yeah, coming on to the last probably 10 minutes, guys. We get ended on two topics United related. That's Ed Woodward stepping down. And last but no means least, breaking news. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked by Manchester United. Right? I know the latter will probably take more time, so give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes or seconds on the whole Ed Woodward stepping down, and then we'll go to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then we'll end the show.
Well, Ed come like that rash that don't want to leave. United supporters, I saw people popping champagne when Ed, resigns, came out. When was that? Around the same time with the Super League? Or what month that was in?
I think that was maybe a
little
couple of weeks
after.
after Super League. Yeah.
Yeah. People were happy, people were celebrating. I, for one, was like, yeah, finally Ed gone, and then lo behold, we here afterwards. Nah, he going at the end of the year. He going in December. And then December roll around, and it's like, well, he going in January, and then he not going, he'll be an advisor to the club. And then January came along, and it's like, well, he going on the 1st of February, but he'll be an advisor. He'll be a consultant. And I thinking to myself, it's just go now. What I mean? Nobody will miss you, Just go. Just roll out. So that's all I have to say. As far as I'm concerned, we have a video dropping tomorrow. Please go on the United Hour in the morning, 9 a.m., talking extensively about Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward and the transition and the changes administratively at Manchester United. So for anybody interested, make sure and mark that down, check that out in the morning, 9 a.m. But Ed is just like that rash that just don't want to leave you. You're powdered up, you're medicating it, you're drinking your good tea, your body cleansing tea, and that rash just don't want to go, boy. I don't understand Ed, but I would like to see the back of Ed, not just as vice chair or chairman or whatever his position is, but just the back of Ed, period. I don't even, we just be so happy when we see Sir Alex up in the stands, when I see David Beckham up in the stands, when I see Rooney and his children up in the stands. Ed Woodward is somebody I don't ever want to see in Old Trafford ever again. I would not. 10 years from now, I wouldn't be like, "Way boy, when last to see Ed Woodward?" No, no.
I wouldn't even remember who he is. But with Ed Woodward leaving, then I think followed was, it was kind of inevitable. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked by Manchester United. What are your thoughts on that, Tremaine?
Well, at the point where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked, I thought it was time because really and truly we weren't getting the performances, we weren't getting the results, and there's nothing going right. So at that point, it was the right time for him to go, and he probably stayed a little too long than he had to. If we had maybe sacked him early in the season, we might have find ourselves in a better position than we do now. However, that is impossible to see at this point because it seems like a case of player power so many years after Jose Mourinho has left because the player seems to just completely down too. So I am really sure on that front. I mean, I did think he improved the team because the team that we have now certainly is better than the team that he took over. And he brought in Ronaldo, he brought in Jadon Sancho, runs a summer. You're looking forward to these. You're just looking forward to like this season that never happened. the performances that never happened, you know, the results that never came. Because early in the season we beat Leeds, and it was a convincing win, and you're looking for things to get better because you're telling yourself, man, Ross still gotta get back in this team. This person no come back from injury. We're looking for Varane to join the team at this point, and Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho. But it seems like when everybody then became fit, the performances just suddenly vanish, and it's hard to pinpoint because no, even though Oli gone, we look exactly the same as we did during that third period on the Oli after like 30 minutes against Crystal Palace. You're looking for a new manager bounce, you're looking for this gig in press, and and after that half an hour versus Crystal Palace, we just reverted to type.
President Chad, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked. Talk to me.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We were planning to launch the United Hour around the same time as the team was really going through that horrible time, not too long after the massacre to Liverpool. And every time we were planning a show, I kept delaying the show because every week since the Leicester game, I expected to hear Ole Gunnar Solskjaer fired. So we were supposed to have a show after the Leicester game. I was like, nah, let's have it on the Monday. Nah, let's have it on the Tuesday. No announcement came. So we had the show. Next game, lose again. Liverpool. I said, well, yeah, for sure he getting fired today or tomorrow. So like, wait. No announcement. Playing Manchester City. I mean, so as Trey said, when it came, it felt like it was too late. And again, hindsight. Now we looking back at it and it's like, was Ole really the problem though? It's a serious question we had to ask now. We wondering maybe something else. But at the end of the day, Ole was a good servant, and I have fond memories. The times when we were singing Ole at the wheel and going to bars when we were on that run and seeing Chelsea supporters shrink. That song.
Paris.
Yeah, that day at Paris. Ole, he didn't win any silverware, but he reminded us of what United was.
Yes.
He was the closest we came since Sir Alex. Even though Jose Mourinho won silverware, I'm not lying to tell you, the game that was the most boring European final ever was Spurs Liverpool, and the second most boring European final ever was Manchester United Ajax. I am sorry, that was boring, right? I was glad we won. I was jumping up like everybody else, but Jose Mourinho, Manchester United, yes, we finished second, but we really wasn't lighting the world of fire.
When Fellaini is a bright spot in the game, things are peak.
Yeah, but Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the amount of 5+ goals we scored or 5 goal hauls we made, the amount of times we competed and beat the likes of City, competed with Liverpool, beat Chelsea. Manchester United looked different under Ole, and it reminded us. It took us back to our place, right? Now we're not at that place now, but it leaves that hope that maybe we could get back there sooner rather than later. Because as Trey rightfully said, the team is way better now than when Ole took it over, and we are a lot closer to hitting pinnacles. So, I have fond memories of Ole, and I would just try to delete that loss to Watford, that loss to Leicester, and definitely that loss to Liverpool out of my memory. Those are things I don't ever really want to think about ever again. But outside of that, I have fond memories of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer period of time.
Yeah. I'll keep it short. Ole brought some stability back to the club. He was part of the United era where we saw Ronaldo come back. We saw the signing of Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane, and
Don't forget Bruno
thanks.
Fernandes. Ole also brought Bruno Fernandes to the club. He got
Yeah,
Paul
yeah,
Pogba
but
to play the most consistent ball we've ever seen.
yeah, but what one thing I don't miss is the inconsistency that the team was playing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer though. Good memories. Thanks to them, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it was time to move on, right? So this has been a very, very good segment of 2021 in review, the good, the bad, and the boo-boo, or the good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever you want to call it. Thank you very much, President Chad, for chiming in. Thank you very much, Tremaine, for making your debut on the United Hour. I have been your host, Big Phil, and we are out.